Sue Montgomery's shenanigans. Sue Montgomery, came and kicked down my freestanding picket signs and then threw them into the street even after I'd put them back up again. And all the while, she's trying to get me arrested for, breaking court conditions, while she's busily vandalizing my picket signs and quite literally trampling on my civil rights and freedoms, trampling on my picket signs, as it were. Certainly kicking them into the street, and I think she stomped on it once. I'm not 100% sure, but I think at one point she stomped on one of my picket signs that was already down to express her discomfort, as it were, disapproval is maybe a better word, of my protest against Unitarian Universalist cover-up of pedophilia and rape. In fact, the picket sign which I think she did stomp on, and which she certainly kicked down and then threw into the street after I put it back up again, was a picket sign specifically protesting against Unitarian Universalist cover-up of pedophilia and rape. So well done, Sue Montgomery, Deputy Mayor of Montreal, founder of the Being Raped Never Reported hashtag. You have shown your true colors by kicking down and throwing into the street my picket sign, which specifically protests against pedophilia and rape committed by Unitarian Universalist ministers and Sunday school teachers, and more specifically protests against the cover-up and denial of pedophilia and rape by Unitarian Universalists, including top-level leaders of the Unitarian Universalist Association. Well done, Sue Montgomery. So, anyhow, we'll continue to circulate here, and we'll see what happens. But obviously David's still here on his phone, probably trying to get the police to come. He may not be. He might be texting other people. He might be looking at my tweets. Who knows? Maybe he's looking at what Sue Montgomery might be saying about her antics of a couple of Sundays ago. So anyhow, we'll just show the signs here. It's always a good morning when I'm accused of blasphemy by atheist Unitarians trying to hide pedophilia and rape. Doesn't get better than that. I love it when they say good morning, because I can always say, yeah, it's a wonderful morning when Unitarians, atheist Unitarians in particular, are accusing me of the criminal act of blasphemous libel in Unitarian Universalist clergy abuse cover-up efforts, which seeks to conceal such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape committed by certain Unitarian Universalist ministers, to say nothing of certain Unitarian Universalist Sunday school teachers, etc., from the public. And no, that's a huge honor and privilege as far as I'm concerned. It doesn't really get better than that. How many people can claim to have been accused of violating Canada's blasphemy law in the 21st century by atheists for any reason? Truly insane. Foolish. Yeah, fools. They're fools. Yes, absolute fools to accuse me of blasphemous libel. Okay, this guy elbowed me a few weeks ago. I have, unfortunately, didn't have video of that because my camera was acting up that day. But, yes, another foolish Unitarian Universalist who totally ignores his religion's clergy abuse problems and elbows me to express his disapproval for my protest against Unitarian Universalist clergy abuse cover-up and denial. He's getting a nice bow and a handshake from David Rollert, the husband of the minister. These people are all totally 100% complicit in the cover-up and denial of clergy abuse, if they're not actually covering up and denying it themselves, and some of them are. When David Rollert erases my chalk slogans protesting against clergy abuse and cover-up of clergy abuse, he's directly participating in the cover-up. So good morning. It's always a good morning to be accused of blasphemy by atheist Unitarians. So Anyhow, so yes, it's Easter Sunday, also April Fool's Day. Maybe all these good mornings are April Fool's jokes. Maybe they don't really mean it. Sorry, couldn't resist that one. But yeah. Anyhow, let's have another look at this chalk slogan here. Unitarian fools cover up and deny clergy abuse. And of course, I'm talking about all forms of clergy abuse there. But it certainly includes such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape committed by Unitarian Universalist ministers. And while Unitarian Universalist Sunday school teachers aren't exactly clergy, nonetheless, that's a very closely related issue. Sexual abuse committed by Unitarian Universalist Sunday school teachers. Some of whom probably are actually clergy, but most are lay people. Anyhow, we shall continue to show the signs here. And alrighty, so Dave's helping an older woman out of the car. We'll continue to circulate here. And yeah, so there was a fire alarm earlier. About a dozen or so people came out of the front entrance. You know, some others might have come out the back. Not a huge turnout here for Easter Sunday service. And we'll continue our protest. In fact, I think today's protest is going to go a little bit longer than usual. I normally wrap it up at around 11. But I'm expecting a supporter to show up at 11, which is when the protest would normally end. And at 11:45, there's a Easter Sunday communion that the Unitarians do once a year here at the Unitarian Church of Montreal. So I think I'll stick around for, you know, until noon, a little after noon, and hopefully those who took the communion, which is not actually a truly Christian communion, it's sort of like the Unitarian Universalist watered down version thereof, you know, they may come out and see the signs after having taken you know, this Unitarian Universalist version of communion, which has almost nothing to do with the original Christian take on communion. Well, look who's here. Look who's here. I think he's now ordained. I'm trying to remember his name, but the guy with the beard is you know, in the process of becoming a Unitarian Universalist minister. He has totally ignored this protest. I'm really trying to remember the guy's name, but on the top of my head, I'm pretty sure it's sort of an Irish name, but I just can't quite dredge it up from the memory banks right now. I do know it. I think it's Murphy or something, but I'm not 100% sure, so I will stay silent. But yeah, I think it's Murphy or something like that. A couple more people showing up. So yeah, it is definitely gusty, and we'll just let this guy pass behind us while the cars go by. Unitarians, you know, one of the ploys they use to try and shut down this protest is they try to claim I'm blocking the sidewalk. Well, I actually keep a pretty high level of visibility. You know, I see when people are coming and I step out of the way. You know, usually, you know, when they're 20 or 30 feet away, sometimes even earlier. And, you know, step to the side, so on and so forth. There's plenty of room for people to pass, but that hasn't stopped some Unitarians from barging into me and, even giving me a body check that knocked me off my feet onto my back in the snow, and so on and so forth. So I've literally been assaulted by Montreal Unitarians, you know, who are trying to show their disapproval of my protest against clergy abuse and cover-up of clergy abuse. So anyhow, yeah, they're getting some more people showing up. It's they might actually have, well, you know, it's Easter Sunday. You'd expect them to have a higher number of people showing up today. It's actually a little nippy. I'm glad I brought gloves along just in case. So I'm just going to put my gloves on so that, oops, looks like my battery's almost done. So's the half hour of the recording time. So I'm going to have to switch up batteries soon. But we shall just, oh, he's giving me the finger. So who's this? Who's giving me the finger? Quoi?
Ça en prend des fous sur la terre.
Ah, c'est peut-être vous le fou sur la terre, monsieur.
Non, je suis même pas unitérien, je suis juste un trou de cul.
Ouais, ça c'est clair, monsieur, que vous êtes un trou de cul.
C'est le bon matin, mon fils de l'Ukraine. Au moins, lui, il a un cerveau.
Ah, pas comme son père, hein, son père, hein.
How you doing? All right, how are you?
Michel, le trou de cul.
Prenez un film parce que regarde, je suis un trou de cul.
Oui, oui, c'est clair.
C'est clair, hein?
Oui, c'est absolument clair.
Ouais, c'est bien le fun, hein?
Oui, c'est bien le fun, oui. Bonne journée. Joyeuse.
Ça prend des idiots par planète.
Non, oui, c'est clair que ça prend des gens comme vous sur la planète, monsieur. Des creux, des trous de cul, des idiots, oui, effectivement, c'est ça, oui. So, this guy, Michel, telling me he's an asshole. It's pretty obvious he was an asshole. Doesn't need to tell me that. It's also pretty obvious he's an idiot, but he doesn't need to tell me that either. On that note, I'm glad that we caught this. The battery's showing it's almost dead, and the time's almost done here. So this is a wonderful way to wrap up the first half hour of April Fool's Day Sunday protest with a fool, a true fool, who is totally ignorant of what's going on.